Didn't have the 5-star factor. I can't show the screen because it'll give it away. But what the actual fuck? Hello everyone. I come to you from my bookshelf right now. I just finished Behind the Net by Stephanie Archer. So first of all, I haven't read it since page 96 on my physical copy because it isn't Kindle Unlimited, so I have been reading the Kindle version just because it's easier to read than a physical book. I'm excited to add it to my read shelf, which only consists of 2 books right now, just because most of my books are in storage. I have these books here, which are the books I do want to read this year, but also like my pile of I'm going to read these next, if that makes sense. And then I've got a few down here which are books I also want to read, and then I've got these 2 here. We'll add that in, but I'm not really sure what to do right now because part of me wants to keep reading for this video, and part of me wants to kind of just pick up whatever I want to pick up, and then part of me, I really want to pick up, I don't know what is making me want to do this right now, but I really want to pick up A Thousand Boy Kisses by Tilly Cole, but I had been planning on reading this for a different video, and part of me is like, shall I just pick it up now, read it now, and I can always like start that video. And then part of me is also like, well, why don't I read I'll Give You the Sun, because I picked this up the other day. It was in the works for £1.25 and I've been wanting to read this book for years, so I picked it up, and I don't really remember what this is about, but I do remember really wanting to read it, but also I think it is going to be more of a hard-hitting book. I was planning on reading this for this video, so I'm like, well, if I read this now, then I can keep working on this video. And then part of me, because I picked it up on Thursday, will read Out of the Woods by Hannah Bonham Young, and I'm not going to be reading this for any particular video. This is just going to be, I want to read this book, so I'm going to read it. So yeah, I don't really know what to do because there's a few that I really want to read. I don't know what to do, but I'm going to stop rambling for a minute and figure out what I want to do. I'm going to have a think about it, but my thoughts on Behind the Net, I literally finished this about 20 minutes ago, so it's still sinking in. But so far I enjoyed it, but it wasn't special. Like, it wasn't anything special to me. I feel like it's not necessarily that it's been done before, because obviously that is just what happens when you have books with tropes, is tropes are repeated and used in other books, but you know, every author's work is individual. It was special to me, if that makes sense. It didn't stick out massively in my mind. I did enjoy the characters and the plot and everything that was going on and the romance, but I don't know, yeah, there were things about the book that I really, really, really enjoyed, but I just don't find myself being like, oh my goodness, I have to pick this back up, if that makes sense. But again, like, I enjoyed reading it. I'm going to have a think about which book I want to read next, and then I'll see you guys when I decide. Okay, so I'm literally on page 15 and your girl is crying, literally crying at words on paper, Hello everyone, so I have just woken up, hence why I look like this. But yesterday I went to the works to pick up a new release and I picked it up yesterday. I'm so excited to read it, and it's actually like thicker than I was expecting, but I went there for that and I found this for £1. I have been wanting to read this for ages, but I know it's like the third in like a standalone series, so I wanted to read the other 2 books first, but I've never actually seen any of them in any shop that I've been in, and I found this for literally £1, which is just incredible, and there's only 2 left, so I was like, I have to pick this up. But I really want to read this summer, so I need to find Part of Your World and Yours Truly and read them both as well. And I know you can read this without reading the other 2, but because I want to read the other 2, I don't want to read this till I've read them, if that makes sense. So yeah, I've got a bit of a reading update. So I'm halfway through 1,000 Boy Kisses, and honestly, it's okay. I'm not loving it. I don't hate it, but I have been debating DNFing it because I don't know, it's just, I don't know whether it's because like now I've got a deep end and there's loads of other books I really want to read. I don't know if I want to put this one on the back burner, but I did this before, but then when I did it before I only read about 30 pages and then I kind of just gave up with it and did like a soft DNF, whereas now I don't know whether I want to keep reading, but there is going to be a film, so it's like I can still find out what happens without having to read it. But then I don't know if I'm not interested in reading it right now because I've got other books I really want to read, like this one. Like there's just so many books that I really want to read that I'm like, this just isn't a priority for me right now, which sounds bad because like I was really excited to start it, whereas now I'm just like, I don't know, I'm not vibing with it, honestly. Yeah, I don't know whether to just keep reading or put it back on the shelf and read what I want to read right now. I don't know. I'm gonna kind of weigh out my options, but I'm thinking I might start Deep End today. Even before I picked up Deep End yesterday, I was still debating DNFing 1,000 Boy Kisses. It's not just because I've got a new book that I want to read, if that makes sense. There was a few things that happened that I really wanted to find out what happened, but now like I know those things and I'm kind of just like, I don't know if I care for it. Thing is, like when I pick it up, I read like a decent chunk of the book, but I just don't really want to pick it up. I started off this video not really knowing like what it was gonna be, kind of reading vlog, but also I was reading books for a certain video, and I just think that this is gonna be a reading vlog instead, kind of just because the video wasn't turning out how I wanted it to be. So I wanted to give you guys a reading update as well as a haul. So reading update, I am still reading Deep End by Ali Hazelwood. I'm really enjoying this. I started it maybe a week ago. I'm on page 218, so I'm about halfway. This probably has like 450 pages or 445 pages, so I was spot on almost with that estimate, but I'm really enjoying this so far. It definitely isn't like my favorite Ali Hazelwood book so far. With Bride and Check and Mate, I literally like binged them. I read them so fast, whereas like I am really enjoying this one, but I don't think it's going to be my favorite. However, Ali Hazelwood just announced the companion novel to Bride, which is called Mate, and I'm so excited for it because I have been thinking recently, like, I really want another, I guess it's a paranormal romance by Ali Hazelwood, because I've never read a paranormal romance before. However, I loved Bride. I was like, love it, let's have another one. And now she's announced that there is another one coming in October, which sounds so far away, but I'm sure it will go pretty fast. Anyway, it's definitely worth the read so far, and I'm intrigued to see where it's gonna go, if I'm being honest. I'll probably say, like, so far it's like a 3.75. And then for the haul, so today I filmed a little like TikTok vlog where I went to Waterstones to pick up a new release which comes out today. Now technically it's not a new release, it's a new edition. So this book came out in hardback last year, but I didn't want the hardback because I only tend to get hardbacks if, one, the paperback version isn't happening or it's not going to happen for a very long time, or two, it's a special edition. Like my Powerless hardbacks, they are special edition, but I don't like pick them up and read them. They are a display slash collector's item sort of thing. So yeah, I was waiting for the paperback version of this book to come out, and it finally came out, and that is The Reappearance of Rachel Price by Holly Jackson. Holly Jackson is one of my favourite authors. She does like YA, thriller, true crime sort of books, but they're YA in an enjoyable way. They're not YAs in like, I'm almost 22, so it's like sometimes when I read YA I feel like I'm reading a teenager's book and I just don't like it, if that makes sense. Whereas with A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, which is Holly Jackson's series, I did enjoy it, and to be honest, when I started them I was 17, so that was what I enjoyed reading at the time. But like, I feel like her writing is something that I still enjoy now, even as I've gotten older. So yeah, I'm really happy with this one. This is a sprayed edges version. They do a red one as well, and it says Reappearance. It is also a signed edition. So yeah, I went to pick this up specifically, and then because I'm going on a book buying ban now, because where it's obviously, it's not just been Christmas, but it was Christmas a couple months ago. I had Christmas money and I went book shopping, and I have accumulated probably about 12 books since Christmas. So I am now on a book buying ban now that most of my new releases are done. So Wildside comes out on the 6th of March, which is next week, but I know that I can read that on the Kindle, and where I'm moving at some point, I'm not gonna buy the paperback version until I've moved and I have my new bookshelves, because I do have the other 2 books in the series. So yeah, my plan is to get that once I've moved, potentially ask for it for my birthday, and then in the beginning of April there's 2 books that I want that are coming out. One of them is non-fiction, which is Aligned Abundance by Emma Mumford, and then one is Fearless, which is the final book in the Powerless trilogy. So I am asking for the paperback and the Waterstone special edition for my birthday, so I'm asking for 3 more books. So basically I'm on a book buying ban now until I've read some of my physical TBR and I've moved and got my new bookshelves. I'm really excited for this one. I am planning on reading this after Deep End, because I've been waiting for this book to come out for so long. This was on buy one get one half price. So then I was having a look at the other books that were on buy one get one half price, and I got Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. So I really wanted to read this for ages. I read the first few pages and I really just am intrigued by this book. It is a historical romance, I think, or historical fiction with a romance subplot. It might even have elements of fantasy in it. Yeah, rivals drawn together by ink and magic. So I feel like this is like historical romantasy or something. I don't know, but this is set during the war. So yeah, I'm just really excited to read this, and I'm excited to read something different as well. So that is like my reading update so far. I'll speak to you guys soon. Okay guys, so ignore the state of my hood right now. I'm trying to block the sun from my eyes, but you're reading The Reappearance of Rachel Price. I got 8 pages in last night and then I fell asleep. So no reflection of the book. But I was tired Gally. So yeah, I'm starting the book now. I am surprised because this seems to be set in America, which I wasn't expecting because it's Holly Jackson. And as far as, well, Good Girls Guide to Murder at least, is set in England. And I can't tell whether this is third person or whether we have a perspective of someone watching this whole thing happen. I don't really know. I'm gonna read this for a while and then I'll give you guys an update. So I'm eating my dinner. No, I'm not. I'm eating my breakfast. I can't show the screen because it'll give it away. But what the actual fuck? What the fuck? I just wanna cry. Okay, so I have just finished The Reappearance of Rachel Price by Holly Jackson, and oh my god, I've got a bit of a cold at the moment, so if my voice sounds weird, then it is just that. It's not a bad cold or anything, it is just more annoying than anything like that. But oh my god, 5-star read. I'm so happy that I ended up downloading this on my Kindle because I do have the physical copy, which is what I started reading it on. And then I knew it was on the 99p deal on Amazon at the moment for, I think it's for the month of March. And I was like, oh, should I get it? And I was like, no, I've just bought the physical copy. But the thing is, like, I wasn't reading it as much because I find it hard to hold books open, if that makes sense. Especially as, like, I was trying to be really careful with the spine. So I wasn't reading it as much. And, like, I couldn't get comfy and read it at the same time. So I was like, no, I'm just going to get it on my Kindle so that I can actually read it. And that was not even 2 days ago. That was the night before last night. And I have read 65% of the book in that time on my Kindle. And oh my god, I'm so happy that I picked this up because I feel like it may have gotten me out of my book slump, because none of the books I've read this year have been like, oh my god, I love that book, that was amazing, I can't put it down, I have to pick it up, like, sort of thing. Whereas this one is, I needed to know what happened. And this is like a mystery, thriller, true crime sort of thing. I don't know if it's true crime, but like crime, mystery, thriller book. And if you're unfamiliar, this is the author that wrote the A Good Girl's Guide to Murder series, which is one of my favourite series ever. And it's like a 5-star series for me. I loved that book. Like, the first one I read before it was like popular on Book Talk. So it was like, it was nice reading that and not having the expectation that it has now because of the reputation it has now, if that makes sense. And I really was craving more of Holly Jackson's writing, which is why I picked this up. It does make me want to give 5 Survive a go now. I think I would enjoy it, but it's just not a priority, if that makes sense. But this I'd wanted to read since it was announced, but I was waiting for the paperback to come out. I really enjoyed this book, definitely 5 stars. I'm gonna try not to ramble too much because I do want to like do a little segment where I talk about all the books I've read in this video, but I am gonna end the read and vlog here because I feel like this is just a good place to stop. Hello, I'm back. So it is the 20th of March today, and I just want to do a quick wrap up of the books that I've read throughout this video and just give my final like thoughts. So I've been filming this video for literally like 2 months now, which is kind of crazy. I started this video off filming a book, like a reading only new authors video, which is why I started reading Behind the Net, because I hadn't read anything by Stephanie Archer before. And then I really wanted to pick up 1,000 Boy Kisses. And again, that was a new author for me, but I planned on reading that book for a different video. So I was kind of just like, I don't know what to do, because there's a few different books I want to read and then for a few different videos, what should I do? So I decided just to like let this just be a general reading vlog. So I'm just going to talk about these books in this video. Book number 1 was Behind the Net. So I thought I had footage of me reading this, but for some reason I couldn't find it. I don't know what happened to it. I don't know whether I didn't actually film it or whether maybe I filmed it on my camera, but my camera is broken, so I'm not entirely sure. So I rated Behind the Net 3.5 stars. It was a good read, but it just wasn't like, oh my god, I love it. And this is a sports romance, and it is like assistant and boss, and also they went to high school together, and then she went like touring with her boyfriend who was a musician, and she comes back home, she's looking for a job. She starts a position as his personal assistant, but also not only is it boss and assistant, but also like forced proximity because they're roommates. And then it's also like Grumpy Sunshine, which I'm a big fan of. So I really did, like, I enjoyed this, but I wasn't like, oh my god, I love this book. Similar vibes to Icebreaker, but like the adult version of Icebreaker, whereas in Icebreaker they're all still in college. This is also on Kindle Unlimited, which is what I read most of it on. It's not a bad rating, but I just didn't love it, if that makes sense. She had a really big crush on him when she was in high school, and then she met her boyfriend not long after that, so it's like she had a crush on him and then she was with someone else, and then now she's working for him. So yeah, I did enjoy it, and I definitely would recommend it. And then the next book that I read is 1,000 Boy Kisses. I say I read this, I didn't finish it. So the situation with this, and I already talked about it in the video, so I'm not going to go into detail about it, but I ended up DNFing it. I don't really know if it's going to be like a soft DNF or just a DNF, because I was really excited to pick it up, and then a few things were happening, and then we'd find out why. And then I was kind of just like, I feel like I'm kind of done with the story at this point. Like, I feel like it's obvious what is going to happen from, I think I was literally 50% through. Yeah, 51% through I got. So it's like, to me, it was obvious what was going to happen. Obviously, I could be wrong, but I don't really care to find out, if that makes sense. So I might watch the film when the film comes out. Or like maybe I'll watch the trailer, and then if I'm like really enjoying it, then I'll finish the book and watch the film. So I'm not going to get rid of the book just yet. But like I said, I don't really know if it's going to be a soft DNF or just a DNF, and I'll give it away. And then the next book that I read, and this is honestly just one of my favourite books of the video, and that was Deep End by Ali Hazelwood. I ended up rating this a 3.75, which again, not amazing, but not bad in any way. I really enjoyed reading this, and I feel like I read some of it quite quickly and some of it a little bit longer it took me to get through. Usually with Ali Hazelwood, I read her quite quickly, so I think this is probably my lowest rated Ali Hazelwood book, which isn't a problem. Like I said, I still think 3.75 is a good rating. It's not bad in any way. It just wasn't my favourite, and I wasn't obsessed, if that makes sense. I feel like it's had quite mixed reviews. I personally, I really enjoyed it. So this book is about 2 student athletes. They are in college, so again, I quite enjoyed reading that side to it, and I don't really know how to explain it other than it's like friends with benefits, but also he's her best friend's ex, if that makes sense. So that is kind of a big part of it, if that makes sense. And I feel like that is what some people didn't enjoy, is how much that was brought up, is her best friend. Her name is Pen. I feel like some people were annoyed by it, but I also feel like I understand why the main character Scarlett would talk about it a lot, if that makes sense. Like, I can understand why she was having those thoughts and everything. So it personally didn't really bother me. Thing I would say is like a general rule of thumb, Ali Hazelwood, if you don't like spice, I wouldn't recommend Ali Hazelwood unless you're happy to skip the pages as they come up. Other than Check and Mate, which is her young adult book. But all the other ones that I've read definitely are quite spicy. I really did enjoy reading it, but I wasn't obsessed. Didn't have the 5-star factor. However, what did have the 5-star factor is the reappearance of Rachel Price. I had such an amazing time reading this book. I'm actually sat in the exact same seat, wearing, I'm pretty sure, the same outfit as I was when I read it just under a week ago. And this book, you know, it has a 5-star factor because you just get that feeling. So this is like a young adult mystery thriller, but you follow your main character Belle, who's 18. Her mum's been missing for 16 years. They agree to do a true crime documentary about her mum, and then whilst they're filming said documentary, her mum comes back. So obviously there's a lot going on there because they're discussing her disappearance, and she's kind of like presumed dead by a lot of like her family and stuff, and obviously probably a lot of the general public as well who knew about the case because it's a very popular case. And this is just, I don't even like know how to explain this book without just talking about how much I love it, because it was just an amazing book and it was 5 stars. And one thing that really shows, it's actually written in third person and I rated it 5 stars. I don't usually get on with third person majorly. I have to be really interested in the book to actually like sit and want to read a third person book. So that is just how amazing it is. And I read literally about 65% of the book within not even 48 hours because I was literally hooked. And like one point made me cry. Was not expecting that. But if you have read A Good Girl's Guide to Murder and you want another book like that, obviously this is the same author, so you know it's probably going to be similar. But like, I picked this up not only because it's by this author, but because I wanted the Good Girl's Guide to Murder series, like the feeling that it gives you. I wanted that again. And I got it. Like, I have not read a bad book by Holly Jackson. You're so invested in the characters and what's happened to, like, what actually happened to Rachel, and then also like how this is now going to affect Belle, which is like the main character. But then also like you've got all these other family members, and then you've also got like the documentary being filmed at the same time. It is a really good mix of, there's a lot going on, but everything gets wrapped up. There's no like, I did not pick up on any plot holes, and there was nothing like, there was no loose ends, and I really, really appreciate that. So if you want a standalone for like a mystery thriller, this is a very, very, very good one because you're not really left with any questions, if that makes sense. I'm gonna end off the video here. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next month.